This podcast is part of the Big Heads Media Podcast Network. Go to bigheadsmedia.com for more great podcasts.
What is up, Spurs Nation? It's your boy Rob from a Bucking Spurs podcast from buckingspurs.com. Make sure you go check out the website and you subscribe and share this episode. It's a preseason roundup episode. Let's talk about everything now from the scope of it being over. There's no more games in front of us to get better besides the regular season. I think by this time we kind of know what to expect. So let's dive into it. Let's dive into the hot spots, the light spots, the bright spots, the dark spots. We'll talk about all of that, all right, and more. But first, we're going to drop this beat.
It's not supposed to be easy. Every round gets tougher. Penetrate hard. Good passes. Shoot with confidence. I want some nasty.
Win, lose, no matter. You make good fight and respect. Then nobody bother.
So the preseason roundup. Just a few things off the top of my head. Zion Williamson is for real. And I've always heard that good players you have to plan for, and great players just destroy your plans, right? So he seems like a guy that can do that type of thing. So the Pelicans are going to be someone that I thought maybe wouldn't be really fighting for the playoffs. We'll see. It's a long season, injuries, whatnot. Zion seems to be flowing in to the league very, very smoothly, and I think that's because they have him in a role where they're not asking him to do too much, and he's playing around some really good players. So if they can all stay healthy, they might be a problem down the line, but let's hope not. That's one takeaway from the preseason. Another one, DJ is going to be huge for us. He is going to be a monster on both ends of the floor. He can really push that ball. He makes us play a lot faster than I ever could have thought of. We haven't seen it. It's been a while. I mean, he can really get that ball and just push it all, and he gets all the way to the rim. He can go coast to coast. He can get a rebound. He can take off and go coast to coast and finish on the other end. We saw what happened to James Harden in that play, where we saw a little bit of that. But not only that, he makes everyone play faster. He makes Bryn sprint to his spots faster. He's been finding Bryn a lot just wide open because he's pushing that rock. DeMar DeRozan's going to get a lot of easy buckets too, and he's just a leader. He seems to be a guy that's just like every time we call timeout or whatever, he goes straight to that guy and guy who needs talking to, either good or bad, encouragement, or needs to be called out on some stuff. And he seems to be the guy who doesn't mind doing that type of thing, and that's great. We need that. Manu was like that. Manu will go get in your face about missed defensive rotation or whatnot. So that's huge. And LaMarcus Aldridge, guys, is going to be LaMarcus Aldridge, okay? He was like 11 for 13 versus Houston. I know earlier on in the preseason against Orlando and Miami, he came out and shot some threes or whatnot. So will he shoot more threes? I don't know. We're going to talk a little bit about that later on. But I think, at the very least, what we can expect is that he's going to be doing his thing that he always does. He's going to be killing it from that block. He's going to be killing it from mid-range. I mean, against Houston, he was a monster. He looked really good against Memphis, and he is who he is. And that's good enough for us, San Antonio. Don't get it twisted around and think, we need to get rid of him and whatever. A report came out that Sabonis from Indiana is available, or they're taking trade talks or whatever, blah, blah, blah. Look, would Sabonis fit into San Antonio? Yeah, he would. But would I give up LaMarcus for him? No, because we're trying to win a championship now this season, and he is our guy. LaMarcus Aldridge is going to get us 21, 22 points a game. He's going to be a monster. He's unstoppable on the block. Now, he showed that he can still shoot a few threes here and there, but do we want him to? I'm going to talk about that later. The Rooks are going to be in Austin. I've come around to it. They're going to be spending about 70% of the time over there. all of them didn't get much reps in the preseason, where I feel they could have. But the Spurs are like, we don't care what you think, Rob. The Spurs are like, it doesn't matter what you think. What we're going to do is we're going to give them a little bit of reps in the preseason so they can feel how the NBA game is, what the pace is, and whatever. Now let's go ahead and throw you down to develop in the G League. And I'm fine with that. It's a little bit saddening. I think Keldon played well. Quindary played well. Luka showed flashes here and there. So they're going to be a big part of what we do in the future. But for now, this season looks like they're going to be in Austin for most of this season. All right, so Lonnie needs minutes. He needs a little bit more minutes. I think he's proven this preseason and the time that he did get on the floor that he's capable of a lot of things. He can come out, hit the three. He can shoot a mid-range jump shot. He proved against Memphis, and there's a few times where he was flying to the rim. So he needs to play, and I think that Lonnie's going to be one of those guys, or we're talking about depth in a little while, about how deep are we? And I think, there's no one in the West that rolls as deep as the Spurs are this season. Tell me someone. There's only one team, two teams that even can be in the conversation. Denver, Utah. Those are guys that I feel that are as deep as us. Now, we're all not superstar heavy like the big guys, but I think we can get it done with the depth that we have in the playoff rotation. We're going to talk about the depth later. I'm going to hold that for a little while. Lonnie needs to be one of those guys. He needs to get the minutes. I know in preseason there were some games where he didn't play a lot. Last night against Memphis, he didn't play like in the whole first half. He came out late in the third or in the fourth quarter and dropped like 8 points or whatever. Hit a couple mid-range jumpers. Patty caught him flying to the rim, and so he put a nasty and one jam down against Memphis. And he can do it all. He's a guy that's going to be able to flourish, and we need to enable this guy. We need to give him the opportunity to go ahead and get that opportunity. We need to give it to him so he can go and take advantage of it. In other words, because he can really do it all. He can pass the ball in transition. He's flying, and he's smart, heady in transition. He knows when to give up the rock. He knows when to take the rock. And so I'm looking forward to Lonnie taking advantage of whatever opportunity we give him. Derek White off the bench in the past 2 games has looked a little bit better than he did the first 2 or 3 games. He struggled, and it takes adjusting time, and I don't expect him to take it on full head of steam when the season starts. But it's going to be another weapon. We're just so deep, and Derek White coming off the bench can be huge for us. Splitting his time with DeJounte and whatnot, and having Derek White being just as productive as he was last year in the starting lineup, coming off the bench is what we need. And there's going to be times where he's out there with LaMarcus and a couple bench guys, or with DeMar and a couple bench guys, whatever. Derek White needs to stay assertive, aggressive, heady, and just compete on the defensive end on the floor. And I'm really looking forward to see what type of role he's really going to have. You know what? If he's going to be coming off the bench, that's fine. But what is his role coming off the bench? Everyone has roles from the top down to the bottom, right? Now, earlier on the season, I thought they were going to start. So I thought Lonnie was going to be that 6-man Swiss Army knife coming off the bench. But you know what? That might be Derek White. And I hope that we have 2 guys in the running for the 6-man of the year award at the end of the season, and Lonnie Walker and Derek White. I hope it's both of them. I think they both can be that type of player. I think if they get those minutes, which I believe that they will be right there to battle for those spots. Okay, so Bryn Forbes looks jacked. His jumper looks jacked. His shoulders look jacked. His legs look jacked. He's getting his shot off so smooth and from deep. I think that he and LaMarcus Aldridge will be the most consistent players on our team all season. That's right, all season long, LaMarcus Aldridge will be giving us what he does every night. 20 points, boom, there you go. He's a guaranteed walking bucket from the block, and he's going to cause a lot of trouble for the opposite big man on the other team. And I think Forbes is going to be a steady ship, just unstoppable. He's going to be lights out. Will he have shooting games? Yeah, where he doesn't shoot all that well. Yeah, he had some games in the preseason where he didn't shoot all that well, but more often than not, he's running to his spots. I think he's gotten like a 4-point play in 2 or 3 out of the 5 preseason games. He's looking to draw fouls off the jump shot. He's money now off the dribble. He can really take you off the dribble and nail that floater down the lane. And he's just super smart. And you can tell he's playing with some confidence that is earned. It's earned confidence. I think last year being our rock, playing like 81, starting 81 of the 82 games or something like that all season last year, gave him what he needed. Gave him the mental tools to what he needed to know that he belongs. And I think the Spurs are now telling him, look, you're going to start at the 2, and your job here is to spread the floor and shoot it as much as possible. Don't worry about DeMar DeRozan's touches. Don't worry about LaMarcus. It's not your job to get those guys the ball. That's not Bryn's job. That's going to be DeJounte's job, and whoever the 4 is or the 5 out there with those guys. And so Bryn has the green light, and he's going to be taking advantage of that all year long. And I believe he can do it at a consistent level. Okay, we're fast. I think that's something I talked about earlier. DeJounte really does bring that element to us. We're a lot faster than last year. Okay, a lot faster than last year. I want to talk about the over-under. Vegas has us at 46 and a half games over-under. I got to take the over. You know why? Because we're going to make the playoffs, okay? We're going to make the playoffs. A lot of teams, Bill Simmons and a lot of those guys at the Ringer don't have us. They have us as one of those teams that are going to fall off because the West got better. And you know what? They're not wrong in why they pick this thing, us to drop off. They talked about Davis Bertans being a huge loss, and he is, but we got way deeper. We're way deeper this year than we were last year, guaranteed. I mean, what were we in the playoffs? 7 guys deep, if that, against Denver. This year we have a legitimate 8-9 guys that make us that deep. I gotta say over than 46 and a half games. Let's look at the last 3 years of the 8th seed in the West. 3 years ago, believe it or not, 41 wins got you into the playoffs 3 years ago. That's crazy. That's crazy. But 2 years ago, the 8th seed had 47 wins. Last year, the 8th seed, the Clippers, had 48 wins. So we know that the West is competitive. You need to be trying to hit 50. If you hit 50, then you're golden. I think this year coming in with continuity, we're going to win basketball games. We're going to be ultra competitive. That's not going to be a problem. So we're going to go ahead and take a break right now and listen to our brother and sister pods from Big Heads Media Podcast Network, and we'll be right back.
Hey yo, it's Troy Adams from the Podcast Wrestling Society. Every single Wrestling Wednesday, we bring you brand new episodes where we review the best and worst of professional wrestling eras of the past, as well as the biggest current events in professional wrestling and mixed martial arts. Search for us on YouTube, where we have hilarious WWE Network watch-alongs, reviews of terrible shows, and other great content. You can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at PodRes Society, and we're available on all podcast platforms. Come join the society.
Okay, again, 46 and a half games, we're over that. I think this preseason has led me to believe that we can run and gun with the best of them, and if we want to ground and pound it, we can do that too. Jokab Poeltl has been one of the main guys that no one talks about, but is huge in what we're doing. I mean, and he's a guy that can come off the bench or start, it really depends on the matchup, and be effective either way. Either way, he's coming into the game and he's causing havoc on the defensive end. And on the offensive end, we're actually looking for him a little bit more. And Pop came out and said that too, that he's just been getting better every day, getting better every year, right? He's just a guy that works hard and is going to put in the work. And I feel like Jokab can be a contributor on the offensive end this season where he was not last season. Now, we're not going to dump the ball into him, but to say he gets the ball, he's not going to look to just give it up or whatever. He can go get one. DeJounte Murray had a great pick and roll dime to him last night against Memphis, and he jammed that thing home. That is something that I've been waiting to see out of Jokab for a long time, right? Or not a long time, but pretty much all season last year. I was waiting for it. I want him to be a monster around the rim. I want him to be a DeAndre Jordan-esque type finisher because he has the athleticism and he's more skilled around the rim than DeAndre, right? So he has the potential to be great. And he's not a guy who's gonna, he's not a guy who his greatness is gonna determine if he starts or not, right? So that's a beautiful thing. Now let's talk about this double-edged blade that we have that we can use in our starting lineup, which is Jokab or Trey Lyles. That's what it seems to be from this preseason, is that we can dictate that maybe one of those two guys are going to be starting, and Trey Lyles being able to start coming in as a free agent is pretty damn impressive to me. So kudos to Trey Lyles. I've talked about it in my last pod. I think he's kind of like a Boris Diaw type guy. I think that he can actually make everybody better, and you can see that he's really hesitant to score and to take shots when he's in the starting lineup. I think DeJounte had to talk to him a little bit against Memphis, like, hey man, like, you're open, take it. And you know what? I think that's going to come with time. I think right now he's trying to impact the game by making the offense flow a little bit better. He doesn't want the ball to stop when it hits his hand or anything like that. So having him in the starting lineup gives us one look. When we want to go small, we can put LaMarcus at the 5. We can put Trey Lyles at the 4. When we want to go big, we can put Jokab at the 5 and LaMarcus at the 4. And both looks are pretty nasty, right? Jokab gives us so much. Trey Lyles gives us so much. So I'm excited about that. It's really going to be dictated by the matchup all season long. I think we can expect to see both of those guys start. And, at some points, we might even get Rudy or Jamari Carroll starting at the 4 and when we play small ball over Trey Lyles. But Trey Lyles gives us a look. I mean, he's looking to catch that ball, go hand it off, catch someone slipping back door. He's a good finisher around the rim, a good high-low passer with LaMarcus. He can really elevate LaMarcus' game. Just the way kind of Pau Gasol did, where he's a little high-low action. I know we shouldn't be talking about Pau, but you know what? Pau was decent for us. I don't want to just throw shade at Pau. His contract was nasty and kind of hurt us for 2 years, but either way, it's all good. It's all good, Pau. Shooting more threes. That's what everybody wants us to do, and that's why most of the big media personalities feel like we're not going to make it this year. Again, they're doubting us just like they do every year, but let's find out the reason why this year. The reason why they're doubting us this year is because they think that the system that we are playing is outdated and doesn't work in today's NBA. And you know what? They're not wrong about us having an outdated system, but here's the thing. Y'all can try to play one type of way. Other teams can try to mimic, this style of basketball. Houston style basketball, Warrior style, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But let me tell you what. None of y'all are Houston. None of y'all are Golden State. Y'all can't do what they want to do, even though that's a style of play that's entertaining. That's a sexy style right now. But is it going to give you wins? I mean, I don't know. So that's the thing. It's like, yeah, we're going to play a little bit outdated. But you know what? We're going to win a lot of basketball games because we are damn good at it. We're damn good at playing this type of way. And you guys, the rest of the league, is going to have trouble playing against us and being able to match up with us while we play this way. Now, last year, we led the league in mid-range field goals, attempts, and percentages. We had LaMarcus Aldridge and DeMar DeRozan were like 2 of the league leaders in the mid-range out of the whole NBA last year. And I think that's because just our system enabled them to do that, right? So other teams, other players wouldn't be able to do that in this fast-paced type of tempo offense. They're trying to score as many points as they can. That's the goal behind those types of offenses. And that's not our goal. Our goal is we don't want to score 130 points a game. No. We want to score 112, 115, 100, but we want to hold you to 90, 95, 100. That's where we want to hold you, and that's where we know, guys, that's where it's going to happen. We're going to take care of everything on the defensive end, and that's what's going to make us competitive. So, shoot more threes. Do we need to? Yes, but should we transfer our offense over? No. This style of play that we have going on is championship level, and I think it can get us there, right? It can get us all the way to the conference finals, the Western Conference Finals. I believe that no matter if we're playing against Houston or if we're playing against the Clippers aren't going to be this team either. No one's giving the Clippers shit. They're not going to be a team that's trying to shoot as many threes as possible. That's not Doc Rivers. That's not the Clipper style. They don't have the players for that. They're going to be taking a lot of mid-range game. I mean, they have our guy. They have Kawhi, who's one of the best in the league at the mid-range game. So what do you think they're going to be doing? No one's giving them their shit for that. Paul George is also a guy who can do it all. But we're the Spurs, so they just want to find a reason to count us out. They just want to. So, but let's talk about 3-point shooting in the preseason. Okay, so in the preseason, we shot 18 threes against Orlando. That went down against Miami, and we shot 13. Okay, against New Orleans, Houston, and Memphis, we had an uptick in threes. Now, I think that's fair this has to be stated that in those first 2 games against Orlando and Miami, we really didn't play any of our main guys in the fourth quarter, and even halfway into the third, towards the end of the third, we pulled those guys out. All right, so those 2 games are almost like we shouldn't even talk about those games because they're not a direct reflection of what we're capable of. We had Dalton Holmes play a lot in those games. He didn't play a lot in the next 3. We had Derek Lawson, who played a lot in those games. I mean, even in the first half, right? And those games really shouldn't even be taken accounted for. So We shot 18 and 13 in the first two. Now let's talk about the next three against New Orleans, against Houston, against Memphis, against against New Orleans. That was a game where we kind of saw a little bit more of maybe what we could be, right, on the offensive end. And against New Orleans, we shot 24 threes, right? Against Houston, we shot 27 going up. Against Memphis, the final three games, we went up again and shot 31 threes. Now, how efficient were we? We climbed in that rank too. We hit 9 against New Orleans. We hit 10 against Houston, and then we hit 14 against Memphis. Now, do we want to shoot 27 to 31 threes? No, a game, no. We want to hit 10 to 14, I think, a game. That's what we want to do. Now, if we can do that in the most efficient way possible, then, hats off to us. But who is going to be taking those threes? I think that's something that we need to talk about, because a lot of us want to see LaMarcus shoot more threes and DeMar DeRozan shoot more threes. But is that the goal? Is that the answer? Is that the formula that's going to enable this whole offense to turn on a different switch? And I want to say no. Do I want them to shoot threes? A little bit more threes? Yes. Okay, so how do those two answers oppose each other, but the goal still remains the same? Well, we all seen this year that Bryn has a green light. So Bryn needs to take the heaviest amount of threes coming into the starting lineup. Or he was kind of a catch and shoot player last year, and he knocked it down. He shot 41% from the three last year. So not that he didn't shoot well, but now we want him and are encouraging him to get his shot off. There's a difference. Okay, so, and obviously off the bench, Marco so far this preseason has been killing it from the three-point ball. Patty Mills as well. Now, other than those three guys, Bryn, Marco, and Patty, this is my list. Okay, I'm gonna put my list on who I want to be taking the most three-pointers on our team, and it goes like this: Bryn, Marco, Patty, Rudy, Damari, Lonnie, DJ, White. Then I want DeMar DeRozan and LaMarcus Aldridge. I think those two guys need to be taking maybe 4 to 5 threes combined. Okay, we saw last night against Memphis, DeMar DeRozan went 3 for 3. That was against Memphis. Just calm down. He's not a sniper now who's just going to be killing it from the mid-range. No, but we do need him to take 2 to 3 shots a game, so I'm glad he took them. Will he make 3 for 3 every game? No, guys, come on. I mean, against Miami, I think too, LaMarcus went 2 for 2 to start the game. Does that mean he's always going to go 2 for 2 to start the game? No, but you know what? If we can have those two guys combined for 6 3-pointers and maybe hit 2 or 3 of them, that's going to give us a different look. And especially when it comes late in games, we need to make sure that these guys are able to look to get that shot off. Now, we're not going to be running a play. Here's why. And it's about what I was just about to say. Late in games, in the fourth quarter, in the clutch moments, are we going to run a play to get DeMar DeRozan a 3-point shot? No. Are we going to run a play to get LaMarcus a 3-point shot? No. Okay, now would we run a play to get Bryn, Marco, Patty, Damari a 3-point shot? Yes, we would. See, that's the difference. Okay, so that's why I'm saying we don't need LaMarcus and DeMar to be taking all these threes, but we do need them to be taking some and hitting some and being effective in that area. You know what I'm saying? We're not going to try to switch our offense around and have these guys start taking a lot of threes. No, we're not going to do that. Okay? So when it comes to, we want to take around 14, 15 threes a game. I think 10 of those threes need to be coming from that list, right? And then maybe 4 or 5 of those threes need to be coming from our two guys, right? Just to give them another look. It makes us better as a team. And do we want to shoot more threes? I think yes. We have the speed to. I talked about it in a drive-through Spurs take video on YouTube. If y'all aren't following me on YouTube, y'all are missing out. I'm about to have a whole new schedule. Hey, I'll take that time to talk about YouTube in a little while on my next break. But in one of my episodes of Drive-Through Spurs Takes, I talked about, look, we need to take more threes, yes, but we need to take them in opportunities where they're there, like in transition. We need to really push, and I think DeJounte gives us that. Just by putting DeJounte Murray in the game gives us those opportunities to shoot more threes, to believe it or not. And it's not like we're Golden State where their half-court offense is trying to get Steph Curry and Klay Thompson 3-pointers. No, and Kevin Durant. No, that's within their offense. That's not within our offense. I'm sorry. Sorry, San Antonio. Our offense is predicated on getting DeMar DeRozan, LaMarcus Aldridge, shots in their most efficient spots on the floor, which is in the mid-range. Now, DeJounte can hit a few from the outside. He can hit a few from the inside. So he's going to be giving us a blend from there. And if we're going to run a play for a 3-ball, guess who's going to get it? It's going to be Bryn, okay? So we need to shoot more threes, yes, but we got to do it within the flow of the game and shoot them with confidence. Okay, we're going to take a little quick break, and we'll be right back. Okay, we're going to take this quick break to remind you guys that a Bucking Spurs podcast is on YouTube, and go to buckingspurs.com for all of our content, audio, YouTube-wise, video, whatever it is there. There is also a shop online where you can get some really cool San Antonio-themed Bucking Spurs gear. But hey, represent well. A Bucking Spurs podcast. We do it for you, Spurs Nation. So go ahead and show your support there at the shop, and make sure you go visit the website to get all of our content. Now let's talk about YouTube just for a second. Okay, so YouTube, we've been doing a couple episodes of drive-through Spurs takes. That's where I'm on the road and I have Spurs thoughts, and I come back and I record those things and drop them for you guys, because it's all about go Spurs go. Well, we have some new shows that are going to be dropping. We got After the Buzzer, which is going to be a post-game show where I'm going to go ahead and record some thoughts on how we played, win or lost, the good spots, the bad spots, where do we need to improve, who stood out, who didn't, and signs of the tail, the telling of the tape, if you will. That's one show. Another show that's coming on is the Film Room, where once a week I will be breaking down Spurs basketball. I am a coach. I do know a lot about the game, and it's not just about takes, and it's not about this and that. X's and O's matter too, and I love some of the offenses and defensive schemes that San Antonio does. So just for you guys, I will be breaking those down as well. Then we're 2 days a week. Stay tuned for the full schedule, but 2 days a week we're gonna go live. We're gonna go live on YouTube, and we're going to be taking your answers, your questions, and we'll be chatting there on YouTube Live. I'm looking at Tuesday and Sundays for those live chats. So go ahead and stay tuned for all that. Make sure that you go and follow on YouTube, and you share the love. If you have a Spurs fan that you know and you think they need Spurs content, make sure you go and point them to our webpage and to our YouTube channel, and make sure that you share this episode on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, on Stitcher Podcasts, iHeartRadio, wherever you get your podcast jam on, we are there. Thank you, Spurs Nation, for all the love. But now back to the pod.
3 inches at 300 miles an hour is still going to do some damage.
Goddamn right.
It ain't about how
Cheers to
big
that, brother.
Because Adam breastfed until he was 6.
I had small teeth. My mother loved me. What's the problem?
But did you know that deer eat baby birds? You think it's illegal to take a pellet gun and start popping pigeons from underneath the bridge?
It's a very politically correct show. You didn't know.
I've never wiped my ass left-handed.
You didn't left-hand it?
I don't think I can.
Shooting squirrels out of boats.
You start second-guessing a lot of decisions that you make when you know that you're up against
What was it?
Yeah, nature's apex predators.
Yeah, I'll eat some deer balls.
I don't like shooting them anywhere near the heart because I like to eat the heart.
So now we have a line at said boat launch.
Yeah.
There's a pickle patch back up.
Don't get your panties in a bunch of
the brakes.
snowflakes. Dude, we were hearing gobbles before we even sat down. We got out of the truck fucking everywhere. They were committing to the decoys until they saw him.
Right.
Like,
Oh, hell no.
These motherfuckers got me fucked up.
Bert doesn't even particularly care for the Wu-Tang, but when he starts sounding like old dirty bastard, there's a problem. Shut her down.
I'm Bert.
I'm Adam.
I'm Rage.
And this is the Racks, Fur, and Feathers podcast.
Okay, really quick, some things that we need to note. I want to talk about the last 3 preseason games. The first 2 just do not exist in my mind. They don't give us nothing statistic-wise. They don't give us nothing really to analyze either. Good things or bad things. It's just too small of a sample size. So I'm throwing those away. And then the last 3 games, the Spurs gave up an average of 109 points per contest. All right, against New Orleans, we gave up 123. Against Houston, we gave up 114, which isn't bad. And we gave up 91 to Memphis. And I think heading into the regular season, we need to be thinking about, okay, how can we improve in that? 109 is not terrible, but it's still a marker that we know we want to take down a little while. So defensively, I think we've shown in those last 3 games that we are capable of some things, and we're also capable of letting James Harden go for 40 points, but coming out of that with the dub, right? So it's a mixed match. It's a process. It's something that's going to take all season long. Offensively, in the last 3 games, we scored 114 versus New Orleans. We took down Houston with 128, and obviously that game is going to give us a lot more offensive possessions just by the style of play. And then against Memphis, we closed it out with 104 points, and that was not our best game, I feel, on both ends, even though the score dictates 91-104. San Antonio, I think we have some improving to do. So that's our roundup here for the preseason. Thank you guys for all the love and everything that you guys has shown during this off season and in this preseason, but it's time to get going. We have our first game against New York on Wednesday. It's going to be a lot of fun. Make sure to go to our Instagram and Twitter, Facebook, follow us there. Again, YouTube, we're dropping special content for you guys. Make sure to share and rate this episode. Do me a favor, scroll down, rate this episode 5 stars. All that stuff helps me out tremendously. Thank you guys. If you have a friend or family member who's a part of Spurs Nation, make sure you get them this link. Make sure you share them. Don't hog it all for yourself, Spurs Nation. We ain't selfish here in San Antonio. We moved that rock, right? A beautiful game. We're looking to get everybody theirs, and so make sure that you share this episode. Thank you guys. Go Spurs, go.
Win, lose, no matter. You make good fight and respect. Then nobody bother.